Hey guys, Dr. Arland Hill here today with PaleoLifestyleDoctor.com, and today what I want to start off with is a question. Do you actually suffer from stress? Ha ha, right? That's like a big joke. We all suffer from stress. So most of the time we don't even really realize that we're suffering from stress, but it has a tremendous toll on our body, and many times because we don't pay attention to it, we don't actually take into consideration the toll that stress is applying to our body. So what I wanted to do today was I wanted to take the opportunity to talk about the 3 T's. The 3 T's are going to be trauma, toxins, and thoughts. If you're not accounting for those 3 stressors, then you're not optimizing your health. So let me take each one individually here. So the first T, trauma. We've all had some type of trauma as we go through our lives. Maybe we've been in some type of motor vehicle accident, or maybe you're an athlete and you've had some type of sprain strain injury or injured a joint or a muscle. You know, if you're athletic, the chances are you've probably had some type of injury. Those things over time start to wear on our body. It takes a lot of energy to recover those injuries, and if those injuries aren't really taken care of properly, then one of the things that happens is we begin to create imbalances in our body, and those imbalances change the way structurally our body functions. So that's a significant stress. That can put a lot of structural toll on our body if we don't deal with those. The second T that I want to talk to you about is going to be toxins. Toxins are ubiquitous in our environment. They're everywhere. If you think that you're not being exposed to toxins, let me just clarify, you're wrong. You are being exposed to toxins. There's no way you can't be. If you live in a metropolitan environment, you're being exposed to the exhaust, to gases, to things that are found as natural pollutants in the air, or I shouldn't say natural, as normal, consistent pollutants in the air. If you're not eating 100% organic all the time, then you're going to be exposed to different herbicides and pesticides. A great example of this is going to be Roundup. Roundup is applied to numerous crops, especially grains. That chemical, that herbicide that has pesticide-like effects, is actually absorbed into those foods, and when that food is processed and refined, that Roundup is not taken out. So you end up ingesting some of that. That accumulates in your body over time, and what does that do? That is going to be a fat-soluble or fat-like substance. So that means it's going to have an affinity for your fat tissue. It's going to want to hang out in your fat tissue. Your body doesn't want to get rid of that. As a result, it continues to promote proliferative negative effects, creates chronic inflammation, and begins to deteriorate tissues in the body over time. Our bodies have to consistently work to get these toxins out. So we've got trauma, we've got toxins, and now the third T is going to be thoughts. Guys, listen, if you don't step into each day and step out of bed, hit the ground with a positive mindset, you're doomed. You're going to have more stress than the person who has a smile on their face and is taking off each day on the right footstep. So you've got to approach life with a positive attitude. Listen, we all have our stresses. We all have things that are not ideal that we all deal with from day to day. But it's all about how do you recenter and how do you refocus yourself to keep going forward. If you're not continuing to move forward, then those stresses are going to start to weigh on you. That thoughts is going to start to weigh on you. Now, that seems very conceptual, but what you have to appreciate about this is that it doesn't really matter if it's a physical trauma, or if it's a toxin, or if it's an abnormal thought process. Those stresses and the way that your body deals with those and manages those are no different. You're going to secrete cortisol. You're going to negatively suppress your gastrointestinal function. You're going to start having negative effects on your gastrointestinal tract. And when we start talking about long-term health, if we can't control our hormones, if we can't keep our inflammation down, if we can't keep our gastrointestinal tract healthy, guys, that's a recipe for a chronic disease to manifest. So listen, when you're going and you're looking at your health and you're thinking, how do I try to deal with the different stressors in my environment, in the world that I function in, guys, look at the top 3. You got to deal with the traumas that you encounter and that you've succumbed to over an entire lifespan. You've got to deal with the toxins that are never ending, that continue to accumulate more and more. And lastly, you got to deal with between your ears. If you're not stepping into that day with positive thoughts, you're off on the right track. Guys, take action on these. Dr. Arland Hill with PaleoLifestyleDoctor.com.